1950 Census Searches, Part 1. Name indexes, expectations, limitation, and questions. Didn't we just do this? Yes, a week ago. But there's been a lot of new information put online. So this is not a revision per se. This is an addenda, an update on January 27th, 2022. The 1950 US Census will become public on April 1st, 2022 at the National Archives website. This addenda update to my January 18th video discusses new information since then about the National Archives, FamilySearch, and Ancestry.com and what they're going to do. See that January 18th video. It's actually a revision of a January 8th video. For more information about name searches in general and questions most of us have about what to expect. And some of this new material is giving a little bit more clarity to what we will expect. So the first one I'm going to look at is going to be the National Archives. They announced on the same day that I revised the main video, they announced a lecture series that will start in March of 2022. You should be aware of this. I'm giving you the address of it. They're going to give you at least 4 lectures, 3 in March. They may give you more. And you can pause the video at any time, and I'm going to show you the address for each of these new things that came online. The two talks that I'm very interested in is that on March 16th there's going to be a video on YouTube available. I think they're going to give these alive, actually. You should look at that, about mapping the 1950 census. And then toward the end of March, just before they open up their own website for 1950, at least the one that actually shows you the 1950 census, they're going to have one on their 1950 census website, design, development, and features to expect. And so we expect at that time we will hear more answers to some of the questions I posed on the January 18th revision. Then on January 21st, the National Archive opened up an informational website, basically, on the 1950 census records. There's a lot of information there. And there is the address. I found that some of the links are still not active, especially for the enumeration district scans of the definitions. But you can see here that this website is divided into a number of sections. You can get information. You can get the blank census form, for instance. And they have finding aids and external resources. It turns out, and we're grateful for that in the finding aids, you will see that there will be links to a number of the one-step stevemorse.org utilities that Steve, I, and our volunteers have worked on, our 70 volunteers. In addition to that, in their section on external resources, they also emphasized our website and some of the tools that we have been producing. I hope that they would give a nod to some of the YouTube videos that I've made, but that's fine. Let's turn our attention now to the FamilySearch people. They now have a logo. This may be their official logo of the 1950 U.S. Census, a community project. They did this in 1940, and they brought together 106 of the 1940 census, which was became public in 2012. And they brought together 160,000 volunteers to name index that census. Now, I found out a little bit more about this because I found this online source on January 24th about what they were going to do. And here is the address for that website. And I'll quote from it. It says, upon the release of the 1950 census, the 1950 U.S. Census Community Project, a joint initiative between FamilySearch and Ancestry, that's a subscription service, and other leading genealogy societies and organizations will coordinate efforts to provide quick access to these digital images and to create a comprehensive index that will be searchable online. Another paragraph. Rather than starting from scratch, volunteers will review Ancestry's computer-generated index using groundbreaking handwriting recognition and cutting-edge artificial intelligence technology. This human review will verify that the data is accurate and complete. Volunteers can visit this website to review their own family's information and then review other records to refine the index before publication. So unlike the National Archives, which will have a preliminary index on day 1 on April 1st, 2022, we're not going to see that on FamilySearch. Instead, they will roll out proofed versions state by state. I'll show you where I got that information from in a second. And then today, and this is the reason why I decided to do this addenda update, I found, it was pointed out to me, that Ancestrycom, this commercial genealogy company, has an article about what they're going to do for the 1950 census. Ancestry to employ handwriting recognition, artificial intelligence to create a searchable index of the 1950 U.S. Census. And here is the address for it, so you can see the original article. And there's a lot here, but I do want to go over this with you. Let me take a drink of water first. So this is from their website. It says, using new, and I'm going to add little comments here. Using new proprietary, that's interesting. Does that mean that the National Archive has their own artificial intelligence handwriting recognition technology? Ancestry today announced it will deliver a searchable index of the 1950 U.S. Census to customers faster than ever before. Now, that's interesting because customers are usually, subscribe, but what's going on with FamilySearch? Will that be on their website as well? The 1950 U.S. Census is set to be released to the public in early April 1st, actually. With handwriting recognition technology, what previously took years to index now will only take weeks. Well, it may take as much as, 12 weeks, 16 weeks. Ancestry anticipates the indexing of the 1950 census, the name indexing, to be completed and available on Ancestry.com this summer, with states released in real time upon completion. That's what happened in 1940, and people look forward to having their state completed so they can look people up. And then another paragraph. Ancestry developed machine learning algorithms to power our proprietary AI, which is and artificial intelligence, handwriting recognition technology. Ancestry created software that reads handwriting from documents and transcribes the data, enabling our community to easily search historical records. I'm going to skip over words here. The technology uses a unique blend of machine and human evaluation based on some score framework. Given the unique nature of the 1950 U.S. Census, and I assume by that, the census is protected by privacy laws, and so nobody sees it except certified the National Archives staff before it's released. So nobody gets these images until April 1st of 2022. So given the unique nature of the 1950 U.S. Census and the unavailability of images in advance, Ancestry used a novel approach to simulate sample document images to ensure it is representative of anticipated variation in aged, inconsistent, or damaged historical documents that may be encountered in order to train the artificial intelligence. Now, I'll point out here, That's kind of an overstatement because the 1950 census was destroyed soon after it was filmed. And so we don't expect it to be aged or damaged over time, but the film quality may deteriorate over time. So keep that in mind. Employees recreated full-size census forms in a variety of handwriting styles before intentionally damaging some of these forms by ripping, burning, and pouring liquid on the forms in order to simulate the wear and tear that historical documents go through over time. Well, again, the documents were filmed pretty fast, I think, and so there's not going to be aging involved in it. Of course, the enumerators, the census takers, had to use fountain pens. So I wonder if they poured ink over the forms. A little side comment there. Ancestry then rescanned these forms, using them in our sample set to ensure our unique algorithms are prepared to support the anticipated condition of these 70-year-old historical documents. Well, the film is probably 70 years old. The documents are no longer in existence. And then calling all family history buffs. I think this was the last paragraph. Ancestry and FamilySearch volunteers are partnering to evaluate the handwritten recognition extraction and ensure a complete and accurate index, which I hope will eventually be on both FamilySearch and Ancestry. That's not clear. Those interested in volunteering to help should visit, and there's a website there to learn more. Keep an eye out for additional details around the 1950s U.S. Census and the artificial intelligence handwriting recognition technology at Roots Tech 2022. And I think my colleague Steve Morse is going to give a talk there on our tools as well. So a lot's happening right now. The major players are showing their cards to some extent, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted to put out this update. So before we leave, since we're seeing all these terms, let me pick up this slide from my January 18th video, just to give you some indication of what these terms mean. OCR, or optical character recognition, recognizes text, including handwriting text now, inside images and converts it to readable text, digital text that can be searchable. It's always easier to search text than it is to search graphics. And then we have artificial intelligence and machine learning. The National Archive used both these terms. I noticed that the Ancestry only uses AI. And AI performs tasks that require human intelligence, such as learning from experience and making own decisions. Well, ML, subset of AI that has the ability to automatically learn from the data without explicitly being programmed or assisted by domain expertise, is a field of study that gives computers the ability to learn without being explicitly programmed. So I noticed that Ancestry only uses OCR AI. The National Archive used OCR AI and ML. So even if there is a perfect name index eventually, I will maintain that locational tools are very, very valuable, and especially when there is an inadequate name index, as there will to start. And I suggest you look at my Part 2 video on YouTube on locational tools. I'm giving you an overview of the expectations, limitations, and workarounds. And of course, that's my specialty, Steve Morse, and our 70 volunteers. And I hope you'd look at that video. So good luck with your 1950 census searches. This is going to be the first one I'm going to be on, and Steve Morse will be on, and many of my volunteers. This has been another JDW Talks. I have YouTube talks on census resources in Ellis Island, natural history topics, and virtual birding field trips. You might think that's an interesting combination, but I'm a retired emeritus professor at Cal State Fullerton, a field biologist with an emphasis on birds. And so I wanted to do that and provide a single YouTube channel. And you can get to my YouTube channel to see all my videos, over 60, on the address in the yellow. Good luck in your research for 1950 people.